Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital... Ah, come on, my cup of tears is empty. Looks like it's time to make a Sonic video. Let's take a journey back in time. Before this, and even before this. At the start of the 90s, Nintendo was at the top of their game, having recently released the final title in their Mario Bros. Trilogy. With the Super Nintendo poised to come out in the near future, their dominance in the world of gaming seemed absolute. But meanwhile, lurking in the shadows, Sega was watching, waiting. Because by analyzing Nintendo's chubby plumber, a team at Sega were finally able to come up with a game that could potentially conquer his reign. It was a game that was new, refreshing, that managed to innovate so much that its core design to this day still hasn't been properly replicated. This game was Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, as I said, Sonic was designed from the ground up to essentially assassinate Mario in the eyes of consumers. Do you think it's a coincidence that Dr. Robotnik is also a fat, red-wearing dude with a mustache? Mario had become the king of platformers in Super Mario Bros. 3 by mastering a certain style of gameplay, in which the focus was on collecting different power-ups, experimenting with said power-ups to overcome challenges, and layering these systems over level design that encouraged thoughtful and precise platforming. It was fairly easy for someone to be able to beat a level the first time they entered it, as long as they took their time and took advantage of the many power-ups and opportunities available for them. It's a solid system, and many of the platforming games at the time would try to copy it, simply rehashing what Mario had already done better. If Sonic Team wanted to win this war, they were gonna need to do something drastic. See, Sega wants everyone to think that Sonic's defining feature is speed, because that's when he looks his coolest. Playing Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time, moving forward and slowly picking up momentum as you make your way towards your first loop-to-loop, that feels awesome. The Mario games are all built around blocks and tile sets, with most levels just built out of different types of squares. In comparison, Sonic the Hedgehog's levels are twisting and turning and feel like roller coaster rides. But the fact is, the first time you play, your fast pace isn't gonna last. Eventually, you're gonna run into something that'll hurt you. You'll be moving along and bam, suddenly there's rings everywhere. Sonic's movement is stopped completely while he even gets thrown back a bit, and if you want to get back up to your impressive speed again, you'll need to push through the line of your old rings that you just got knocked out of you, and carry on with your journey, having just learned something new. Can you imagine how frustrating the game would be if it didn't have the brilliant "as long as you have at least one ring you'll survive" mechanic? It means you still can die if you mess up near a pit or near too many enemies, but generally the only loss if you've been running for a while is in your speed, not your lives. And even when you do get a game over, since the game encourages forward movement so much, you'll have learned enough to get through levels faster and gain back your progress pretty quickly. Eventually, you'll be able to blaze through levels that used to give you trouble without damage, and if you can complete them without losing too many rings, you'll even get the chance to unlock the game's true ending by earning Chaos Emeralds. Sonic the Hedgehog is only about speed whenever you've built up enough knowledge and skill to get through these levels perfectly. Most of the time, Sonic the Hedgehog is instead about momentum, about gaining those small moments of bliss, and working hard to make your way through the trickier segments. And the funny thing is, this whole concept of earning your speed seems to have fallen by the wayside immediately after this game was finished. Sega had to advertise their game at its best, and so Sonic was always presented as being a deadly blue blur in-game. Why show off the more Mario-like slow sections, right? In Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they even immediately added the ability to spin dash, giving you instant momentum instead of having to earn that velocity through the level design or predetermined boosters. I'm definitely not saying that the spin dash is a bad addition, but rather that it makes the original Sonic game all the more impressive in that its levels didn't need this mechanic to give you the same sense of building momentum and excitement. All in all, with this first game, Sonic Team was able to do what everyone thought was impossible. They created a character that was able to compete with Mario, and for many years, Sega and Nintendo were involved in a console war that forced both companies to constantly try to better themselves in the face of competition, which only led to greater things for us gamers. And though Sonic has admittedly fallen a bit by the wayside in recent years, it is simply incredible how much love and respect that fans still have for the character. The original Sonic the Hedgehog was so good, so new for its time, that we all still, deep down, have a bit of hope that this greatness can be achieved again someday. And for daring to go against the grain, and for making a game that made you earn your speed and your victory instead of just handing it over, I'd have to say that Sonic the Hedgehog is really freaking clever. Hey there, if you like this video, why not hit that like button? You know, because it's a button that can prove to me that you liked it. Like, that is so nice of YouTube. Put that button right in there. And you know what else helps me out is if you comment, you share the video around, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandma, tell your grandpa, tell like friggin' everyone ever. And oh, whoa, what's this? Usually, you know how I usually like ramble too far on and then like the music cuts out and then it's all awkward because I'm just talking by myself. Not anymore. Extended theme music. Thanks to Zerachi. Go like and comment and subscribe to him too. Oh yeah, here we go. I got my own beat. Oh yeah. Here we go. Really freaking clever in the house. Don't be a little mouse, cause then you gonna get eaten by a cat. I don't know why I'm talking about cats. Ooh.